And here we go. Good morning, everybody. Monday. This is what TJ and I do. We break down what's going on in the sports world. Of course, we are called the Prop Stars. We will be breaking down some gambling news today and the drastic effects it's taking over on sports. We did have some preseason games to break down, some really impressive and some very poor performances, I would say. And then, of course, we're going to talk about some rankings when it comes to our fantasy wide receivers and other positions. TJ, how you doing? First day of school for the kids. Obviously, you get them tucked out, and now we get to get right into the meat and potatoes. What you got?
Oh, yeah, it's a great schedule, right? Wait in the car, ride a line for 45 minutes when I live 3/4 of a mile away and get the kids into school. But it gets me on the right schedule, so I'm prepared and we're ready to go. So it's turning into breaking news now. Gary Payton is the next name to get busted. Emmanuel Clase was last week. And the three major sports in particular are ready to go, right? They know what's luring these athletes in. It isn't the bets it's not the straight bets. It's the prop bets that have lured these athletes into this gambling, somewhat addiction, right? And it's so easy to dictate. A popular bet last year were quarterback attempts, right? So it would be a Rutgers quarterback, his attempts were 27, right? And it was very easy for these players to manipulate their stats to come in with the prop bet, right? Everyone used to
You
say,
call an audible, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't like the look. We're just going to run the ball here. Oh, I didn't like the look. We're going to run it again."
Or you're going to throw it, right? If you want the over, right? So everyone always said Pete Rose wasn't really, a villain because he only bet on himself and he only bet on to win. We don't know if that's true or not, but I think it was true. He only bet on
I
his
would
team.
absolutely believe him.
Right? Now, the problem is these kids now or athletes, they're taking the prop bets, right? I want to make 3-3-pointers in the first quarter.
Sure.
So it is from our sources, it's gonna blow up. A lot of these athletes, big names and small names, are betting on themselves to win these prop bets. And the first thing people say is, how could they be so dumb? How could they place a bet under their own name or their sister's name or their cousin's name? That's not what gets these leagues' attentions, right? It's the spike in action on a particular player, right?
Right. So what you're saying, if it's going to be, we're going to take the over on pass attempts, and it's going to be, Josh Allen or whatever,
Yep.
and he's going to sit there and be like, I'm going to put a nominal amount on this particular prop that I'm taking the over on it, and then you're seeing a spike because it's like 50,000
Yeah,
or
exactly.
20,000.
And Josh Allen is not, that's the example, right? But what's really happening is it's let's just say Rutgers. It's the Rutgers quarterback, right? Someone that could benefit from making 100,000 on a game, right?
You're talking about it's more the little guy than the big guy. It's about the players that you don't hear about more often.
Exactly. And he's not using, he could use his cousin's best friends, chefs, wives,
Ohtani uses interpreter
to make the bet.
quote unquote
Exactly,
that
right?
shook him down, right?
Exactly. But it's the spike in action. So the quarterback in October 4th had $1,000 total off all three sports books, major FanDuel, DraftKings, and Hard Rock. The next week, from 1,000, it went to 450,000. That is the spike in action that the FBI and the investigators are looking for. Now, these companies, FanDuel, DraftKings, and Hard Rock, are directly involved with all three sports when it comes to advertising, right?
Yeah.
So it's a partnership. The only way that these three leagues would agree to that was full transparency, right? So they're not tracking. That would be so hard to track. Oh, is this person related? Is this person related to this person? How'd you get the bet in? All that stuff. They don't care about that. It's spike in action that first triggers their attention, right? It's not the Josh Allens that are making $50 million a year. It's,
it's the Jonte Porters of the NBA. Like,
exactly,
who is Jonte Porter? You know what I mean? Now he's got a lifetime ban.
And Gary Payton Jr. is the first one to come out and say almost everybody's doing it.
Sure.
On one level or another. They're betting either on themselves or on somebody else that they know is going to manipulate the game. And that's when it gets really scary.
Now, the penalty, of course, we all know you get there's fines, suspensions, but it turns into lifetime bans when
Mhm.
you're caught on betting on yourself and the
Yeah,
outcome of the game, right?
yeah,
Now, I don't think that's too harsh by any means, but you're talking about a level where there's so many people in every sport now doing it, and it just seemed to be caught first in the NBA,
yeah,
right? Like because back in 2007 we had Tim Donaghy, right?
yeah,
And that was like the whole, black eye that they had. And then now you have the MLB, and I know it's direct correlation with the prop bets and the first pitch into the dirt and stuff like that. So if we have this, how do you mitigate incoming players that are obviously all fighting for contracts? You know
yeah.
what I mean? How do you get them to, I guess, to not bet any of whatever is going on? Like it doesn't seem like it's even feasible right now with the way that you're putting it out is my question.
Yeah,
Like
so
how do
I
you even
think
stop it?
yeah, I think they can get a hold of it. I think it caught them off guard, right? Because
It just seems like anybody can come out and put a bet on anybody. And if you're saying it's the amount that spikes, and for somebody who's not a big name player, even fees or I guess units of 5 to 10,000 is still gonna draw attention, but it's lesser, is it not?
it's lesser, right? And I think what you do, I actually think everyone has always said betting on sports, betting on yourself is automatically a lifetime ban. I would like to see the leagues take a different approach, right? And they could somewhat admit, hey, we threw gambling in everybody's face. And we all know that every athlete has been mentored and counseled on this, but maybe not enough, right? So I say you kind of almost start with ground zero, right? And if you got caught right now, I'm not talking about starting today, it's a 1-year ban or something like that, right?
Okay.
And now it's the league's job to individually talk to every single team and every single player and say, hey, this was our mistake. We threw this in your face. We pretty much legalized it, right? And you could say the states did, but it's really the leagues that legalized it, and they're the ones with all the money and all the power, right? And let's start counseling them and show them, hey, you're going to throw away your career if we do this, right?
Didn't you make this really good point that these guys should be in like some sort of active class quarterly, kind of like how hospitality people do like
Yeah,
alcohol awareness? There
yeah,
should be like mandatory classes and whatnot for gambling and addiction because obviously it is an addiction. And I think the way the MLB does it in every clubhouse you go to, they have rule number 21. It's the
yep,
most sacred rule in all of baseball. So maybe you put something like that in NBA, in NFL, but not just with baseball, but something like you said, they're all three together. So you have a unified rule for all leagues or per se or
no, for
something
sure.
like right?
Yeah, for sure. And Gary, thanks for listening. Hey, listen, I think for anyone that doesn't know what Buff just meant, we're in the hospitality business. And once every 6 months, we have an official come in, like an alcohol state official, and they teach us about reading proper identification. And it's just refresher courses to make sure that we're not underserved or we're not serving people that are underage. We're not over serving where they go and kill themselves in a car accident, and they teach us how to read driver's license. A lot of it is stuff we already know, but it's a refresher course, and it also keeps the companies, from being sued. There's a liability and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think with athletes, it's going to be almost like a classroom setting where every 3 or 6 months, you're going to have to be taught, hey, these are the bets. This is what people are doing. And that's the way it's going to be. You're making a lot of money, but you will, from here on out, be throwing your career away if by any means you not even bet on yourself, manipulate. You know what I'm trying to say? And we've seen it
Absolutely.
for years, right? We saw Baker Mayfield do it last year with Mike Evans. It wasn't gambling, but it was manipulating a
The way
bonus,
that he's going to get him to 1,000 yards. And if
right?
you took that bet early in the season, right?
Yeah,
Because you're like Mike Evans is a lock for 1,000 yards again.
yeah,
Like you were sweating, and Baker
exactly.
got you through
Now
that,
he
right?
didn't do it for any bets, right? We all know
No,
that. He
yeah,
was
of
doing it,
course. He did
but
it for
we have seen
career.
athletes manipulate stats their whole life. We know that. But you got to just let them know, hey, we can't do it as it affects to betting. And they're going to see it. Every athlete pretty much knows the point spread. And now, from what I hear from some close friends of ours, right? Remember this story where they're before 2 hours before kickoff, they're looking at the prop bets, right?
Yeah.
And they're just curious. Baker Mayfield is, I don't know, not him particular. I'm using that as an example. Our source is not from the Bucks, but he was
I
saying
would
that,
say Jalen Hurts or
yeah,
somebody, Jaden Daniels, somebody else from the NFC
exactly,
East
right?
who's
Yeah,
not in
yeah.
our
We'll
teams.
throw somebody else under the bus, but they are looking at their prop bets. They want to know the over under and yardage.
Right.
That you can't prevent. They're going to look at it, but if you manipulate it, you're going to be in trouble. I think we should go on. But what do you got next, Buff?
All right. So, I mean, it's something I know you want to like move on because you could talk it ends about it, but it's a very interesting thing because it is the future of sports. And if you do have, all of these companies that are also supporting you and taking money at the same time, you just wonder where the gray line is, man. It's good stuff. All right. So we
Also,
had a lot
really
of
quick,
preseason. Go ahead.
yeah, really quick too. If you go to a football game
Yeah.
nowadays, you almost feel like it's a time warp. You feel like you're back in the 80s every time I go to a football game because almost all of us watch sports from a different lens now.
Yeah.
We're not just watching. I've seen many people, and I am victim of it, that I have rooted for my fantasy team over my own sports team,
I
right?
mean, yeah, of
We have
course.
we have all done it. And it's when you go to a
It's the
football game,
caveat. The Cowboys got their ass kicked, but CeeDee Lamb went off. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
But I'm talking about rooting against your team.
no,
You
of
know,
course, sure.
everyone's done it, right? And the argument is if the Cowboys or Giants win the Super Bowl, is that helping me pay my mortgage? But if
Right.
I win $5,000 on a fantasy league, so yeah, I'm not totally selling out if it's a fantasy, if it's a playoff game or something, but we've all done it, right? But
Yep.
when you go to a live football game, it is you feel like you're in a time warp. These guys are actually truly rooting for their team.
Yep.
And they aren't just looking at stats and all this kind of fun stuff. So it's
It is
interesting
kind of
to think
interesting. We'll
about.
segue right into it. Just talking about the preseason games and whenever you go to these, events, you had the Raiders return to the Seahawks in a preseason game, and
Yeah,
it's just like preseason, like you said, but the 12 was out, and you have like the Seahawks fans just screaming at Pete Carroll, and it's a third down, and it means nothing, and it's for peanuts, and nothing matters, and they're losing their voice
yeah,
and losing their mind, screaming. You could just see Carroll kind of like looking around. The 12 is
oh
real,
yeah,
man. People care about their teams, especially whenever you're going to be at a live event, right? All
yeah,
right, so going right into preseason, that was one game that was played, and you did have Ashton Genty in that game.
yeah,
Ashton Genty is obviously going as the top rookie in fantasy drafts. He had a very average pedestrian look, couple of rushes, nothing too great. Obviously, they're not trying to tip their hand or anything, but I think it was something that was indicative just to lead into some of these rookies we're going to talk about, because the Raiders' concern is their offensive line, and the Raiders' concern is going to be, can they run the ball, or are people just going to stack the box on them? And it didn't give me anything to really to be confident about just looking at his first few attempts.
mm,
He's going to be the top rookie off the board,
yeah,
and whether if that's going to be the range of 6 or if it's the range of 14, I think that whenever you see this preseason hype, and it's really annoying, a lot of
yeah.
people buy into it, and maybe they make too much or too little of whatever's going on, and we're about to go into some things. But I don't think this is anything to really buy into and worry about with Ashton Genty. I think that he just got a couple of runs under his belt. He didn't get hurt. Carroll got him off the field. He has the propensity to run the ball. What
Yeah,
do you
he had
think about it?
yeah,
Is
he
it
had
being too little or being made too much?
well, no, I haven't heard anything negative about Genty. I mean, he had 3 carries, -1 yards, extremely small
Right.
sample size. We
Very
don't really
small.
know what that's about. I mean, the preseason hype, it's fun, and we're just so eager for football. The NFL has taken over the country as the #1 sport. It's been like that for a while now, and we just love it so much that we just need that. We've talked about it in other shows. I have, you know, I almost sometimes want to turn off my sleeper app, right? But it's information overload and it's a lot. But I do think that I did see some performances that were alarming. Genty is not one of them, but you do hear the whispers. Hey, he wasn't in the SEC, right? And he did get kind of blown up in the Penn State game. A lot of carries, never broke one. Physically looked strong, but
Sure.
wasn't going to beat anybody to the outside or anything like that. So now the only thing is that we hear how great he looks in practice against NFL talent. That's why I'm not concerned. right?
Right.
But segue to that, I am a little concerned about Caleb Johnson though, because
Another rookie going further down the board.
watching him look on the field, he looked a little sluggish, right?
Yeah.
And that is a preseason hype that let's just see how that plays out. I'm not down on him yet, but I didn't see that burst, that we obviously saw from,
Yeah, he got stuffed. He had a drop. He had one catch for 6 yards. He was 8 for 20. It was nothing that was indicative that he's going to be a breakout. But I
yeah,
mean, I hate, and there, I'm sure we all have a story of somebody who you saw just do something in a preseason game and he flies up the draft board. And
yeah,
I'll never forget, I think it was even a superstar in Chris Johnson back in the day, and it was like 2012 or something. And he was coming off a rushing title, and he has this one touch, and he's just gone in the preseason for 50 yards, and everyone was just like, "Hey, he's back, he's back, he's back."
yeah,
And it didn't turn out to be a great year for him, but it happens all the time. I don't think that Caleb Johnson is anything to worry about, but it does kind of worry me a little bit because if you're going to invest into these rookies, you're kind of taking them as like an anchor running back if you go zero receiver early. And
yeah.
these are like your first running backs that you're looking at, taking off the board. Or if this is your second running back, it's still a little bit worrisome. I feel there are guys that could be more proven that aren't rookies that are going to be a better value for you. Especially Caleb Johnson. He's going to be given he's with Tyler Warren this year.
Yep.
He's obviously not going to be the passing down back. I know Warren's got that locked up.
Oh yeah, Warren will be the guy there. Yeah, and he looked a little sluggish to me. What about stars that you saw? Obviously, let's just talk about Shador first. I
All
thought
right,
he
we'll
looked
talk
great.
about Shador.
Yeah, I
Shador
thought
came out, he lit it up. He was 14 and 23, 2 tutties, 138 yards. He had a QB rating of 106.8. He even had 4 attempts rushing, 19 yards. With that being said, the other quarterbacks on this roster, let's just break it down before we go into what he's going to offer. You got Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett with hamstring issues.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's your projected starter. And then you had Tyler Huntley, who's, he came in, he's known as a mobile guy and actually did okay after Shador. But Shador did impress. And you do hear the clamorings, as we heard our good buddy Jeff Schneider say, of some conspiracy theory of him setting up to fail. None of that was true. He looked great. His very first adversity that he had faced was like a 3rd and 9, and he just like booked it out to the right and scrambled. He slid, unlike Tua Tagovailoa, just like he immediately gets down low and then move the chains, So
Did you see his interview after the game?
I did. I saw it. I was not able to hear audio. Tell me what was said.
He gave himself a C rating. He was very disappointed in himself.
Oh, I love that, right?
So we love that, right?
Oh,
I think
that makes you excited, and like that's just exactly what you want to hear.
I think that he's aware. He stands tall in the pocket. He can make every throw. And I just don't understand why certain teams, Mel Kiper had him as a first round pick. And I just don't understand
how often is that guy wrong? He's not really wrong. Like that guy's a great take.
And I just don't understand why some teams didn't think he was worth a 4th round pick. You know who else had integrity?
The Steelers, right?
Oh, well, Steelers could have got him, and he would be learning under Aaron Rodgers right now, right? And I just don't understand how teams passed on him. And, it's still too early. It's the preseason hype. I'll tell you a guy I was really impressed with, which you hope you are, but was Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I thought
Cam Ward had a great debut.
Really good versus the Bucs. A minimum action. But
no, minimum action. He played, his first series was a 3 and out. He still went like 5 of 8, 67 yards on a scoring drive. What I thought was beneficial about that is it looks like a real connection between him and Calvin Ridley.
Oh yeah, I think
and that's also another guy talking. That was who I wanted to segue into first after the gambling, because Ridley was banned for a year for gambling, right? And this kind of shows you that it is definitely. In every sport, you can definitely come back from it. I think that it did save Ridley a little bit of burn or tread on his tires. Saved him a year taking hits. Cam Ward is now the beneficiary of having a true alpha X receiver. I think Ridley and Ward are going to make some noise. They got a sound running game. Tajay Spears, I don't know if you saw, did come out of that game hampered. And I was just starting to like kind of get back on the Tajay hype train because you're hearing nothing but good out of camp. His rookie year, Tajay Spears was behind Derrick Henry, and he was very effective. And then last year, whenever you're like buying into the hype and Tony Pollard, he gets hurt. And then here we are, another preseason, he's getting hurt again. It's just so annoying. Like, golly. That's very disappointing. But I will say, before I digress, Cam Ward looked like an NFL quarterback. He looked like he was making reads, progressions. He's got weapons around him. I think he's definitely going to be undervalued. You could grab him super late in any of your drafts. 100%. If you do grab a Calvin Ridley for your third receiver, and then you combo that with a Ward. Obviously, we're not always trying to press combos, but that's a really cheap, sexy combo that can end up top 10.
I could see, honestly, right now, just from watching one game, and it wasn't the 3 catches he had for 50 yards or whatever really had. It was just the way Ridley looked, and he looks like he looks
sharp. He looks sharp. He looks explosive.
They kind of considered him almost on the downside of his career a little bit.
Disagree after looking at him.
Yeah, I could see him. Honestly, if it goes like this and you want to take a chance in the 3rd or 4th round and you go get him, I really don't blame you because I think, first of all, that team will be down. Second of all, Cam Ward will be throwing him the ball. Cam Ward won't stop throwing him the ball. And if he's healthy, he could be one of those surprise 13 to 1,500 yards, 10 touchdown kind of guys.
And we've already heard reports that Cam Ward is called his offense mid. So he's definitely a guy who likes to grind and is challenging everybody out there. So I love the same thing that you were talking about, how Shedeur gives himself a C. I love the guys that aren't too high, that aren't too cocky, that just stay humble, that know they can get better. And there's a lot to clean up, per se, whenever they get it back out,
And Cam Ward also falls under that category where he's seen a lot of snaps in the highest competitive football that you can imagine, right? He has seen a lot of snaps at quarterback. He's a little older, and the division. Please like and subscribe, guys. We really appreciate the support. Thank you very much. But we also, he's one of those guys that he's in that Bo Nix category when it comes to snaps at the highest level, right? So he's going to come in, and I don't see the growing pains as much. I don't know how good they're going to be, but I could see Cam Ward being a wonderful late round flyer in fantasy and a guy that you think you're drafting as a backup, but after week 3 or 4, you're going to be debating, do I play him or do I play Dak? Or do I play, Kyler Murray?
He's another reason to go quarterback late, man. Like, I know the big 4 are so sexy, but it's definitely another reason to take quarterback late. All right, so let's talk about a guy that you're going to be hearing a lot about, and I think somebody who had a successful preseason go. We heard all about the likes of a Tanner McKee from the Eagles, but to our division and to your team, you had Jackson Dart go. How do you think Jackson Dart fared out there with his look? Because there's a little bit of clamoring people were talking about before he stepped on the field. What would Jackson Dart have to do to supplant a Russell Wilson or a Jameis Winston? What would he have to do to put his name in the hat to be a starter?
Yeah. I mean, I don't love how Daboll already came out two and a half weeks ago and said Russell Wilson is a starter.
That sucks, right? Because you just make your bed with something that you know is average.
And I wanted to say this on the last podcast, but bet the Giants every week in preseason because they have 3 don't count DeVito, but they have quarterbacks galore and all have started in the NFL, right? So if you could bet the Giants and they're an underdog, then do it, right? Because they're constantly going at it. Now, to ask you what he has to do, they've already came out and said he's not starting yet, right? I thought it was interesting that Russell Wilson left the game 6 for 7 for 28 yards. Right?
Very poor, very pedestrian.
Yeah, I took a photo cap of it. Let me pull it up really quick. Dart on his first 8 attempts was he was like 6 for 8 for 95 yards or something like that, right? Hold on once. Oh, yeah. He was 6 for 8 for 91 yards. Russell Wilson was 6 for 7 for 28 yards. Dart kept going after that. But I'm just saying, Russell Wilson, he's a check down monster. And think about it. You're a guy that just came in, man. You came into a new team. You're playing the Buffalo Bills, and you want to show the Giants what you're made of. And you come in and you average 4 yards an attempt.
Josh Allen was like yawning on the sideline. It was just very
Yeah,
boring
come
to
on,
him.
man. Like you just play it. Yeah, everything you say is the right thing to say. You play everything tight to the vest. And I know what we're doing, right? They don't want to put Dart in against that schedule. But you know what? Peyton Manning went 3-13 his first year. If we think he's the guy, I really was hoping that Winston was going to win that starting job. And I think Winston might have beat out Russell Wilson. And I think Daboll could have removed some of the turnovers from Winston and could have made him like a Baker Mayfield second half of your career. I know there's a little bit of age gap there, but I think Winston could have had a very successful 4 to 5 years under Daboll.
Well, let's be real, man. There's still a storyline that can happen. You know what I mean? Like the thing about the NFL is it is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, whenever you get injured. And Russell is known to be decently durable, but he is undersized and he tries to stay mobile. It takes one bad hit, one opportunity. You get
and you never want to root for injury,
right?
but the guy just, and also when you see
we don't wish injury upon anybody.
Yeah.
It's like you just want everyone to stay healthy in a vacuum, but it's just such a visceral game. Things happen so fast. People are trained to be nothing but bigger, faster, stronger, hit harder. It's remember Aaron Rodgers comes out, first scramble, goes down. You don't know what's going to happen whenever you get a veteran in who is given the reins. And if something like that were to happen, to the likes of Russell Wilson, you have a Jameis Winston because of that reason. And it's something that could be beneficial because Daboll could make that guy look great. He could take down some turnovers. Instead of going 30-30, he could easily have him going 25-10, which would be amazing for you guys.
Yeah, and I mean, and also when you watch Dart's touchdown throw, I mean, it's one throw, it's one touchdown. We all know you can throw touchdowns. The way he throws the ball, if you look in college too, his receivers on bombs are like having to chase it down, right? Okay. Where Russell Wilson, it's always turning around, or it's the moon ball where it kind of falls in. Dart's throws, you got to run through his throw, or it's going to be overthrown. You know what I mean? And also, I love how Dart hung in the pocket and kind of waited to that last second to throw. Now, the trick is to do that without turning the ball over. But I liked his quick feet in the pocket. I was impressed. It's early on, and you don't know where it's going to go. But thanks, John. Appreciate you listening. John Daboll going with the Warner Manning playbook. Yeah, you're exactly right, right? Let's see what happens. But Warner kind of passed the reins onto Eli, right? And it was, hey, here you go. And then it was Eli took over and never gave it back, right? And got the Giants 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yep. Do you think it matters which quarterback is in for Malik Neighbors to go off as the highly touted number 1 pick, or he's the first round pick?
I am 1,000,000%. Okay, we all agree that if Winston was the quarterback, Neighbors would probably be the second quarterback off the board after Jamar Chase.
Right, the second wide receiver.
No doubt in my mind.
Right.
Now, with Russell Wilson, I would not be taking Neighbors in the first round. And he's going in the first round of every
draft.
He's
going in the first round, man.
I would not.
And do you think with Russell Wilson under center that Neighbors can keep his target share? What makes Neighbors so amazing is he's one of the few receivers to have a 30+% target share, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Daniel Jones and whoever was behind center fed him the ball. First of all, Russell Wilson is short. So Neighbors caught a lot of quick pops, right? A lot of quick slants, a lot of drag routes.
Do you think Neighbors' average depth of target goes up with Russell Wilson?
Yeah, it might. The average depth of target might go up, but I just don't see it. I just don't see Neighbors flourishing, and I could see him just digressing a little bit. Now, Winston was in the game, totally different story. I think Dart would get him the ball a lot, but Dart just looked like a quarterback, man. I mean, I can't say this enough. Russell Wilson just is so conservative, and there's just no guts. And
You feel like he's fight another play instead of looking to take a chance every once in a while. Like he's not taking those big chances.
yeah,
And
and
he's
it's
just so
just
vanilla. And it's preseason. And you're not going to be judged on it or anything, like any more, any less. They're going to forgive you if you go for a throw and throw a pick, right? And he still didn't even have the
thing
courage.
is, they had a stat about Josh Allen that he threw in the tightest windows, that were completed. He's number one in that category. Wilson doesn't have the talent to do that, doesn't have the arm strength, which is fine. There's quarterbacks that are successful in the NFL that don't have the arm strength. But I just don't like the demeanor. Now, you could argue that the Giants might have the best front seven in the NFC, and maybe you could say top 5 in all of the NFL, right? They have a great front seven. So if you want to say, hey, this defense is that good, don't turn the ball over, and we'll go, Andrew Thomas is coming back healthy. That's his name, right? He hasn't played in so fucking long that it's like, I forget his name. It's Andrew Thomas, the left tackle from Georgia.
I think so, yeah.
You
We
don't know
got
his
our
name?
executive producer Rob on there. If we can get a little check on that,
No,
Rob.
it's Andrew Thomas. It's Andrew Thomas. I know my cousin John Trebetta is listening right now. And Andrew Thomas. It's sad that I don't even know our number one left tackle. He's projected. Last year they said he was the number 2 left tackle behind Wirfs. That's how good he is, but he never plays. So we don't even know if he's good. We don't know if that's true or not.
That's crazy, man.
What about
right.
Trayvon Henderson, actually?
So
right?
we had Trayvon Henderson. We'll go into this, and this kind of expounds into a couple other talks about rookies. So Trayvon Henderson, he won a ship in Ohio State, and the guy is known to be a dynamic playmaker. He gets drafted by the Patriots. The Patriots got Mike Vrabel, run heavy offense. It looks like a match made in heaven. They have Ramondre Stevenson. They got Antonio Gibson. They put this kid in on kick return on the very first play. I was like, okay, he's going to have some kick return. That's cool. I don't know if you saw the return. So the whole kick return now in the NFL is always, it's different, right? Because everyone stays there, they kick it, and then you're allowed to run.
Yeah.
There was a gaping hole on the left side. This kid goes up the left side, and then you see him burst through the hole, and he takes off right. There's like 4 or 5 people to beat, and his speed was clearly noticeable. Like he was gone. Beat the kicker, took the corner, first touch in the NFL, touchdown for 100 yards. He didn't look surprised. He knew it was coming. You saw the Patriots going nuts. And then to top it off, he still ended up having like another 18-yard rush. He had 3 catches for 12 yards.
Yeah.
The kid is going to be dynamic. And you have a Ramondre Stevenson on there who also looked pretty good. It looks like it's a split. And I don't think that Vrabel, and his history with Henry and Tajay, everybody else, I don't think he's going to sit there and lean on a rookie more than a veteran. Ramondre still had 7 for 36. It's going to be a split. You could see maybe series to series, but there is so much there to like. And I know that preseason hype, as we talk about how it'll take players up a draft board, you're looking at him going up a few extra spots. You're going to look at people
moved up for me. He's moved up for me.
And it look in that system, it looked like it's going to be potential league winner. That guy has like some serious pop. God forbid if Ramondre fumbles that ball, like we all know that he does. And if he does it too many times, Vrabel will give him the reins. Antonio Gibson is nobody to even care about. So this is like nothing but runway and green pastures for this kid. I think that he's definitely going to be a 4th to 5th rounder. If you want somebody like, why would you take? I like him over Alvin Kamara. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. The volume of Alvin Kamara and whatnot. I like him over Alvin Kamara. It gets a little tricky in that spot because you're talking about the James Connors. Do you take a Trayvon Henderson over a James Conner? That's kind of tough, right? But that's where he's slotting in. What do you think?
No, it's tricky, but I love Trayvon Henderson. That kick return moved him up my draft board. That 18-yard run moved him up my draft board, right? Because Ramondre looked so sluggish the last couple of years. He's kind of one of those guys that he has to get 3 or 4 yards going. Then he hits that speed, right? Where nothing you want more than your running back. I mean, Saquon Barkley did it in college. He was a kick returner. So you automatically know you have a home run hitter there. Now he's an Ohio State Buckeye, right? So we know he's got the toughness, and their running back style, isn't track stars, right? The
Right.
track star for this guy is a bonus, right?
Right.
And he is 100% moved up my draft board. And do I take him in front of James Conner? I don't know about that, but
I don't know. I think I might. I mean, especially with my history with James Conner, let's just talk about, once, twice, snake bit and whatnot, twice
yeah,
shy. I think that you're talking about a potential 50 to 60 catches, and you're talking about a guy who can definitely burn out 1,000 yards in his rookie year. I mean, those are big numbers, and you're talking about an RB2,
yeah.
for sure. And I know that James Conner, if healthy, he's going to be doing around the same numbers. So I mean, it is true. You're right.
Oh
there.
yeah, that kick return definitely helped, and I'm excited, and I would love to have him as my number 3 running back.
All right, so we already talked about Caleb Johnson. You got Travion Henderson, another rookie running back that was there. And he did not have a super successful run in his preseason game, but you got RJ Harvey, and RJ Harvey's going for Denver. He's somebody in the Sean Payton scheme everybody's kind of using as a darling term, Cinderella kind of guy. Everybody loves him. He's gotten, plucked further and further up the draft board. He's right there with Travion Henderson, and he's going to catch a lot of balls. He's kind of stocky. He's built. He was like 7 for 25. He had a catch. It wasn't anything too sexy. Sean Payton's not trying to unleash his game plans for his star rookie running back. Do you think that these guys are I think they're going to be kind of connected throughout the rookies, throughout the draft boards. They're going to be very much Travion Henderson or RJ Harvey. You're going to be looking if one of them now, clearly Travion Henderson has advantage after such a successful showing and whatnot. In the NFL, there's only a few kick returns, period, last year. To come out and to take one to the house right away,
first
just shows you something special.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
You can't really talk enough about that. Right?
What is it? His first touch?
That was his first touch.
It was his first touch.
It was the opening kickoff.
I mean, it was opening kickoff. Yeah, so
that's opening kickoff.
That's
wild.
Has Dobbins to worry about, right?
Yeah, so, and Dobbins, and what's kind of crazy, like Dobbins is the opening. He's on first team reps, and Dobbins is looking sharp, and that Peyton has Dobbins, and why would you, as a coach, not want to run anything else that he's got in the tank? You're gonna burn through it, use what he's got. And if he can get you through the season, great. And if he gets hurt, you got RJ Harvey and you got Audric Estime and people in the wings, right? But you're definitely going to use Dobbins. He's still showing some pop and explosiveness. He's still right now on the depth chart, RB1. So I think that RJ Harvey has a little bit, I guess, more to do to show he's going to get as much time is Travion Henderson for sure.
Schefter reporting live right now that he thinks it looks like Cowboys and Parsons are pretty close to getting it.
It's going to get done, man. It just sucks that we got to sit there and drag it out. So let's segue right into that, okay? Cowboys, we had a preseason game. We played against the Rams. What's Wu-Tang saying? Peyton knows what he's doing. RJ's perfect back. Of course. I know that Peyton's also notorious for not showing too much,
Yeah, but Wu-Tang, what do you think if it comes to where you happy getting them? Because that's the problem. RJ Harvey a month and a half ago was a 10th to 12th round guy.
Right. And he just keeps going up. Now he's in the 70s, 60s.
Yeah, now you're going 5th, 6th round. Are you happy with that? And you know that there is a chance.
I'm going to look at running backs right now.
Yeah, the way Dobbins runs the ball sometimes, I mean, that he might, Dobbins is still, how old is Dobbins?
Dobbins is going as the 36th running back. RJ Harvey's the 25th right now.
No,
this is where I'm talking about value.
How old is Dobbins though? Yeah, Dobbins.
If I'm gonna get, I suck at the age game, right? Yeah. Let me say, I'm gonna say Dobbins is 29.
Yeah, 26.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. He seems like he's been in the league forever.
And he's an Ohio State running back. I would have bet my life
for sure.
I would have bet if someone said 26, I would have said you're a liar.
100%. All right, so you have the Cowboys, before we digress, right? I know that we'll see what Wu-Tang says. You have the Cowboys about to sign a deal with Micah Parsons. Obviously, we got Dak. He's going to be our starting quarterback. We did go out. We got rid of Cooper Rush, and we ended up getting Joe Milton. From what I've heard, for the people who really believe in Joe Milton, people are saying we want Dak to get hurt. And this is supposed to be the guy that could lead us to a Super Bowl. If you know anything about Joe Milton, he came from Tennessee. He's got an arm. He can stand and throw a ball like 70 yards.
Yeah.
He's got like this cannon. He's mobile. He's got a rocket arm. Like he throws it, upwards like 80, 90, 100 miles an hour.
Blah, blah, blah.
And that's exactly what I saw in the preseason game. He did not look good in the first half. There was no touch. There was no finesse. He was just throwing rockets, fastballs into everything. Yeah. He had a couple of overthrows. Now, he had a few scrambles. There was a late touchdown. I don't think it's indicative of anything that's going to be, make or break. I love the fact that we have a dude that has a huge arm and that is mobile. And if something does happen to Dak, I got enough confidence in him. Now, the whole talk is, are we going to have to keep a third quarterback on because his performance was not so good, and like Will Greer, whoever it is? I think that it was definitely good enough. And I think that between him,
Milton's stats look good.
I mean, it was all right. It was the second half kind of thing is what it was. You know what I mean? And it's just preseason. But I know that Cowboys Nation, they're so overly critical, and they're obviously clamoring just to have any kind of positive light because we're in the midst of this Micah Parsons peril. I think if Parsons is signed, there's a lot more glass full than glass empty, but the Cowboys are just so pessimistic and negative because we're just stressed out. And there's just so much pressure going on the team knowing that we're not going to make a run if we don't get this deal done. And we still wear egg on our face because our fucking PR department just sucks in the optics that we always go through. But yeah, I think that Parsons is going to get done. I think Milton's going to be fine.
I mean, Milton's not gonna see the field very much.
I'm excited about Milton, man. I'll be low key.
I mean, you're excited about
he's a good dude.
That's when you know your season's fucked.
I know, yeah, for sure. Did you have any other performances in the preseason that you thought were worrisome from anybody just around the horn over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, Russell Wilson, it was horrible. But anybody else?
That one really stands out, right? That was tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it's opening. I'll say this:
we only get 2 more games, right? It's only 3 preseason games now.
Yeah,
it's not like we got 4. The first one matters more. There's only 2 more.
Johnson looks like most coaches look. You're an offensive genius if you have great talent around you. And I saw some of his play calling. I was just like, okay. And I just don't know if Ben Johnson, he's been crowned this offensive mastermind when he had some of the best talent that we've seen in a long time all on one team. Also, I thought it was interesting, the Dolphins with Tua, they moved the ball right down the field pretty easily. Then they got 1st and goal like on the 2-yard line and did 4 handoffs and got stuffed all 4 times. And at first, I'm like, oh, that's annoying. And, me and Kaiten are watching the game. We're yelling at the TV. But, like, Tua just marched the ball right down the field, right? They're not going to get Tua hurt. Where, if you remember, Tua got hurt really bad against the Bills.
Whenever he went for on a scramble in the red zone, right?
Yeah. So I think that they were just like, Mike McDaniel was like, we're not going to show our hand. Tua came in, 1 drive, marched the ball down the field. It was a little frustrating, but they literally ran 4 run plays in a row. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th got stuffed. But I want to say the last 3 were the exact same run play. And, it was just one of those things where you kind of start, after I'm bashing Ben Johnson, by the way, you kind of see these guys are just not showing anything.
You don't want to show any personnel packages in the red zone.
But this is the thing, is that everyone's, a lot of people run the same play. You know what I mean? It's, you're running plays and there's screen passes and there's some other things that are creative. But, a lot of these, we're not reinventing the wheel here, right?
I will tell you.
Every receiver has a route tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
About 9 routes. There's more, but, and there's depth and all that stuff. But it's not like any play that's ever been called, 99.9% of plays that has been called before, right?
Right. Other than, Ben Johnson and the stumble.
And that's why I say 99.9, right? Because that was a funny play.
You do have those things.
That was
then you're going to see that progress into other things.
That was a really fun play to watch, by the way.
Bro, anytime I ever watch it, it was definitely one of the plays of the year last year.
And the announcers made it funny, too, because they didn't know.
They had no idea. They totally fell for the bit.
So I'm like, how did you not know after – I understand live, But then you watch a replay and you still don't know. It's like, come on, guys.
You kind of look like an idiot when you're like, oh my God, like the fifth replay, you finally catch on,
That's funny. But
All right, so another little preseason caveat. I don't know if you saw any clips from the Panthers, but Bryce Young looked good. And they got that young receiver, McMillan, Tittori McMillan. Kid looked legit, it was an accurate pass, like 28 yards, something, right shoulder on the sideline, brings it in. I think that in that offense, we were talking about Panthers could be down a lot. This kid is the alpha of that team. He's already showed some pop and rapport with them. He's going right there around Travis Hunter. I know we're going to talk about receivers and whatnot with our list. We can go in that little 40-30 bubble and go up. But you do have, I think his name's Tataria McMillan is how you say his name. Yeah. And he's right there in that 30 bubble. It is, like I said, around Travis Hunter. You do have the likes of, you have a Cooper Kupp. That's kind of just below that, right? And a lot of people like a big season for him. You have Khalil Shakir. He's kind of injured. He's Josh Allen's number one. You got a Stephon Diggs, who looks even more interesting with the running game, is going to be there. And he's going to be the number one receiver. Do you think any of these guys pop out in this like 30 to 40 bubble? Like Jordan Addison, obviously, is being suspended. Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers. And then it's like Rome Odunze and Chris Olave. Any of these guys look like they're going to jump up to like top 20 guys that are in the 30 to 40 range that we're looking at right here?
Yeah, I mean, Odunze is interesting now that Keenan Allen's not there, right? I think that
I like him as a breakout.
People were kind of high on this Saints quarterback, but then he had a rough game, right? Or did he play? Wait a minute. Yeah.
Was it Tyler Slow that came out?
Yeah. But he actually looked good. He went 15 for 22, 165 yards. I didn't actually watch this game. Look at the box score right now. But Olave could be interesting. It's
crazy how far he's gone. He was just a first round pick. Yeah. Right? He was going like first or second round.
Yeah. Without Derek Carr, it's it's interesting.
All right, so you have a lot, and there's also Raheem Shaheed in that offense. It's a late round lottery ticket, right?
Yeah. I mean, Shaheed is what is, but yeah. So
he was like a top 15 receiver like through like 3 or 4 weeks last year.
No, yeah, that is interesting. Let's we're kind of coming towards the tail end, but let's start at the top with receiver, right, and work our way down because I feel like it's a little easier for our listeners to kind of stay organized, right? So, as far as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 go, that's Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, Nico Collins, and Neighbors, right? Is Puka in that?
I think Amon-Ra and Puka are in that bubble, right? You got Amon-Ra, who's probably got the most sustainable fantasy floor. He's shown it every year. And then you got Nico Collins. I see why he's in there. He's going to be the number one target, and nobody else is healthy, as they're trying to get that receiving squad together. You did mention Puka. We talk about this privately, but aren't we very nervous about what we're hearing out of LA?
Very nervous. Also, I have Nico ahead of Neighbors as well. But no,
I got Nico ahead of Neighbors. Puka, Nico is a tough comparison because Puka should have the volume and catches, like especially. I don't know if target share is going to be, I think Nico probably catches him on target share this year just because of the situation. But my God, like the Matthew Stafford back injury thing is very worrisome. Devontae Adams, Puka are all tied very highly, to Matthew Stafford. And it just, to be able to invest into your top 7 pick, I think I pass on Puka until I hear more, good news about what's going on out of the Rams. And when it talks, I like Nico over Puka. I like Neighbors over Puka. And I definitely, I don't know, Brian Thomas Jr., now that we're hearing such good things out of Travis Hunter, he's also right in that bubble too. Yeah. That's coming down. I think you're going to see Puka fall unless if somebody is really just not fazed by the situation. And I guess on the coin flip, we did hear our good friend Jeff Schneider talk about he's okay with backup situations like Tua Tagovailoa because they got Zach Wilson, right? Well,
Yeah.
you do have Stetson Bennett, who showed a decent
Yeah, and
preseason
that's what
game
I was gonna
when
say.
it comes to the Rams. So is Stetson Bennett a good enough fill-in where you feel confident
Yeah.
that Puka and Devontae Adams are still going to be safe choices? What do you think?
No, yeah, I think Stetson Bennett isn't a horrible
Well, number
backup,
one, let's
and
all
he's got
congratulate Stetson Bennett. The guy's been addicted. He's had alcohol issues. He's still
yeah,
in the NFL.
it's good to see him
Everybody
back.
was wondering, like, he won 2 national championships and he just kind of disappeared. What happened? He's in recovery. He's a stand-up guy. Now he's got another opportunity. He's another older quarterback. He's mature. He's seen a lot of snaps, and he's in
Yep.
this offense. It's a very good offense. I mean, this could be very undervalued, right?
No, yeah, I love that the Rams didn't turn their back on Stetson Bennett.
I thought that was a
I'm
very class act thing, man.
Yeah, I'm really on those top receivers, I'm really low on Neighbors. Like I like Nico ahead of Neighbors. Puka, after watching the Stetson Bennett highlights, right? I was really impressed with he kind of has that Brock Purdy vibe. You know what I mean? Where it's quick feet,
Yeah,
undersized, quick release, and he's just one of those tough guys. So, and I do think that says something that the Rams really didn't go after anybody, right? I don't think they drafted a quarterback.
right.
So Stetson Bennett played the whole game. I'm pretty sure he's the only the Rams are the only team this week in preseason where they only played one quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of trying to get him reps because they know that Stafford might not be ready game one, right? Nico, I'm very high on. Oh yeah, back to preseason again too. How do the Bears not play Caleb Williams? Our friend Tyson Thomas, Super Bowl fantasy champion, dominated our league last year. He was real ticked off about it.
I'll tell you, I don't know about the dominate the league last year, but
Yeah.
we'll
Gassing
give
him
him.
up a little bit, but it was a big win.
We'll give him some credit from the uninformed fan over there. Great program and wonderful, wonderful people over there
But he
and
was pissed
commentating.
off. And how do you not play Caleb?
I agree, right? It was just Tyler Bagnett that was just Badgett or whatever
Yeah.
is in there.
Yeah, Tyson.
I mean, I said it earlier, bro. You only get 3 games. You don't get this throwaway game anymore. I think all reps are valuable, especially when you have this guy who's supposed to be like the second coming to Jesus Christ and Ben Johnson. And I've heard people say equal amount of talent the Bears have, like the Lions. So it's the sky is the ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay, well, can we see Caleb do something and show us a little bit? No? All right.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't get him in. Now they did say they ran a vigorous 2-hour scrimmage where they ran 65 plays with Caleb Williams. So Ben Johnson just didn't see it was necessary. So it's not and that's a thing. We're only getting a very small part of the story, right? So we see they don't play in front of our eyes, but I think that he kind of owed the Bears fans something too, right? And people could say, "Oh, he owes them wins." He doesn't, but come on, put him out there. Ben Johnson is the second coming of Jesus Christ. Caleb Williams is the third coming? Get them together and let's see what you got. But it was just one of those things where I was really surprised that he didn't get on the field. Let's go back to receivers though, right? So
all right. So after Amon-Ra and Nico, you got this bubble: BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr., AJ Brown, Drake London. This is where it gets interesting. Lad McConkey, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Out of all of them, I'm really high on Tyreek Hill. I've made that pretty clear.
T. Higgins is the number 2. That just shows you how dominant the Bengals receivers are.
T. Higgins is going to have 2 touchdown games, 10 catches and 100 yards, right? He's going to have those games. And, you can't go wrong with them. I hate going a number 2 receiver in the second or third round.
Isn't that tough? That's like Devontae. It's like Devontae is right there in that same thing too. Devontae Adams is only 2 picks after a T. Higgins. Who would you rather have, T. Higgins or Devontae Adams?
Yeah,
T. Higgins, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's close, to be honest with you. Devontae Adams. I mean, yeah, that's all based. Well, yeah, T. Higgins. You're right. What'd you say? Who would you rather have?
T. Higgins.
Well,
and
yeah,
I think even with the healthy Stafford, I just think that Puka is going to have a tiger. I think just a bigger target share. I think Devontae is going to be able to make it work, obviously, off of less opportunities. And who knows, maybe Puka is the same thing that Chase is to Higgins, where he just demands so much coverage that's why T. Higgins just flourishes because he's his own number one. And
Yeah.
now that you have Devontae there, we're finally going to get to see it to fruition there. But I mean, right now, I like Lad McConkey less than I would take Tyreek Hill over Lad McConkey,
Yeah,
right?
certified Rob's taking T. Higgins over Adams too. Yeah, what about like a Garrett Wilson or a Lad McConkey?
All right. I like Lad McConkey over Garrett Wilson. I think, but that is kind of tough because Garrett Wilson is like the ultimate disrespected receiver. He keeps going up in the draft boards. He's been first or second round pick last couple of years. And then now you kind of have him down in this like 30-40 bubble. And really, like receiver wise, he's ranked 17th behind it, Terry McLaurin, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Devontae Adams. So we're right in this next bubble. I like I like Garrett Wilson less than I like Lad McConkey. I do like the prospect of Lad McConkey getting a Keenan Allen to kind of help him. I was kind of worried. Like, who else are they going to have? Is it going to be Trey Harris and Quentin Johnston? Is that enough to warrant the value of a Lad McConkey now that you get Keenan back? I think so, right? I think
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
yeah. Johnny T's asking, what do you think about Cooper Cup this year? What do you think
I
about his
think that
ADP?
I think Cooper Cup's going to have a great year. He's got a true number one. Um, they have a running game, and Cooper Cup. We're going to say it just like any other person, like a Christian McCaffrey. His year goes as his health goes. Now, if you talk about 17 games, Cooper Cup healthy, he only needs like 5 or 6 catches to go over 100 catches, right?
Well,
I
I mean,
think that's well within the realm. It's
what
kind
do
of
you mean
nuts
when they say? What do you mean when you say they have a number one? What do you mean by that?
for who?
You said Cooper Cup, they have a number one.
Yeah, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
So, like, yeah, he's the number two then, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then
They have a
also,
number one in JSN who's going to be demanding coverage, Cooper Cup. They got a running game. I think
yeah,
that he could definitely slot in. He should be in the 80 catch bubble. He should be in the 90 catch bubble.
yeah. So I don't know about Cooper Cup. He's 32. Let's see when his I always didn't know when they're we look at the birthday and stuff too.
He's being receiver 43. He's after Debo, after Addison, Khalil Shakir.
All right, he just turned 32. Yeah, there was that stat that scared me last year. Yeah, I agree, Zandy. I think Garrett Wilson is gonna have I mean, I agree. I think Garrett Wilson could be a top 3 receiver at the end of the year. But back to Cooper Cup really quick. I always talk about that stat last year where he was ranked almost dead last in man coverage. He has clearly lost a step.
There's no separation.
Yeah, you cannot get separation on man coverage. And I just don't know if Cooper Cup's going to be that guy that you want in Seattle in those cold weather games, cold, windy, rainy. He's 32 years old. Even though it's Sam Darnold who's shown that he could carry an offense.
I mean, I agree if you're talking about a Cooper Cup as like, the 30th, the 20th, whatever, but he's the 40th receiver.
Yeah, so
you're like literally talking about him being your 4th receiver, your 5th receiver in a lot of cases.
And that's what Johnny T was asking, right, with his ADP. So if you could get him in the 6th round?
Further.
Yeah, 6 times. Yeah, so 8th round?
Yeah.
Yep. So back to Zandy, though. What about Garrett Wilson? Where are you happy getting Garrett Wilson?
Man, in my ideal mock from
Late
drafting,
second, third?
I would love, I'm happy if I'm, all right. So I am a very big advocate on the elite running backs being elite this year. I think that the top backs have separated themselves, and the second tier of running backs you gamble on. So I'm a back kind of guy this year is what I feel. So when it comes to my receivers, I'm very happy with taking Garrett Wilson as my first receiver.
Yeah. All right.
You know what I mean? And I think that he's already, you're saying, a lot of people believe it as well. He's a wide receiver 1, and he's being drafted, and his position is down in the 40s. So in the 3rd or 4th round, and he's already proven, or the team has already proven, Justin Fields can get a ball to his number one. He's the unquestioned alpha. They have two running backs. Now, to your own, I guess, admittance, it was Braylon Allen looks better than Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Right? That's a worrisome kind of thing. But no matter what, Garrett Wilson is the unquestioned guy. The target share should be massive. I think that the Jets are the only thing holding Garrett Wilson back, right? Like it's the fact that he's jetting. There's no rule that's saying if you're playing for the Jets that you're going to be abysmal. I think he's like one of the only guys that comes out and has like a breakout year. Fields can be okay, and there's some value around there, but I do like Garrett Wilson being my first or second receiver, and he should be drafted in the third or fourth round. And if he drops any further than that, I get it. It's tough, and anybody who plays for the Jets always goes down on your draft board. That's just what it is.
Yeah, and I don't to me, if you're getting Garrett Wilson, even late second, early third, I mean, those are the guys that, hey, you love them that much, you want to go reach for him a little bit and take him at 25 instead of 38. I don't blame you because.
Okay, so let me ask you these questions because this is a very real question, okay? You're coming back on your draft board and you're looking for receivers. You went back. You have no JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba's gone, Garrett Wilson's gone. You're looking at Terry McLaurin. You're looking at Mike Evans. You're looking at a Xavier Worthy, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Cortland Sutton. Like, who do you like? And if you're losing
Mike
out
Evans
on your
Zay
Jackson
Flowers.
Smith and Jigba and Wilson because they do go up a little bit higher.
Yeah, Mike Evans and Zay Flowers out of that group. I think that I'm taking Mike Evans or Zay Flowers.
Over DK Metcalf?
Yeah, over DK Metcalf.
Over Xavier Worthy?
Over Xavier Worthy.
Over DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison?
DJ Moore, he's always scared me. And, he could be the Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? To that offense, right?
I mean, he's the one guy who's shown to be quarterback proof his whole career.
Yeah.
He still was good even with Keenan Allen and Roma Dunes last year, right?
And he just has that body like Amon-Ra St. Brown has, right? It's like that quick twitch, kind of jacked, short, can make catches, make plays.
I think it's a tough decision because you have guys like right after that bubble, you do have this whole Cortland Sutton, you have a Calvin Ridley, right? You like these other guys that are number ones for two quarterbacks that are young with Bo Nixon and Cam Ward, but these are guys that could outperform a Mike Evans because Mike Evans, we know he's a little bit older and they do have all these other options and mouths to feed. Godwin's not going to be healthy right away, but with the emergence of a Mickey Egbuka, it's just how valuable is he going to be? And do you think that Mike Evans is a safe pick as your first or second receiver when you have these other guys right there?
Yeah, but John, you're saying that Garrett Wilson, they're worried about Fields throwing the ball to Garrett Wilson because of the Northeast weather. DJ Moore had his career year with Fields at quarterback in the Windy City.
In Chicago, yeah.
Yeah. So I think Fields has kind of shown that he's weatherproof.
I mean, he played in Ohio State too. They play in cold weather up there. Yeah. It's not like he came from some Southern SEC team,
Yeah. So, and Garrett Wilson, I mean, the guy has just produced, right? Didn't we look at this? He just,
they both played together in college too. This is the first year we're going to see them with a connection, right? They both played together.
Garrett Wilson had 101 catches, 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year.
On a down year with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. And that was kind of like one of it. But either way, it looks like he's guaranteed right now for 1,100 yards and, 5+ touchdowns. That's on the low end because of what we're looking at. But I think this is the year where Garrett Wilson goes for, 1,500. And I think that Fields, the connection with college, and Fields is known to lock into his number one targets. So he likes to throw to his number one receivers. And that backfield is going to be a mess. So that's going to be going back and forth.
I don't want anything to do with Breece Hall. I would take a late Braylon Allen for sure over like risking it.
And I think
Breece Hall just looks so good and he's had so much pop. But like clearly they don't trust him to have like the 300 carry mark. It's going to be like a middling 160 for each running back,
Yeah, and I'm staying away from that backfield. I mean, it would be so hard for me to draft Breece Hall. I would just feel like I'm literally just drafting a guy to not,
I would hate the pick.
Yeah.
He's on my do not draft list for sure.
Yeah. Let's work
All
down the receiver board a little more before we cut out.
All right, so as we work down this board, let's get into this little talk. So you really like Zay Flowers, okay? He's the number one. He's being disrespected. He fluttered at the end of the year last year.
Yeah.
He was a very volatile receiver. He would go big or he would give you nothing. Yeah. Another year into this offense, they have Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, right? Yeah. Which I don't know if you saw. Keaton Mitchell's back. Yeah. I think that's a sneaky little backup right there who could get some burn. But you have who did they get? DeAndre Hopkins, right? Didn't the Ravens sign DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah.
Right. So they got DeAndre Hopkins, Zay Flowers. You got Likely on the mend. Do you think that Zay Flowers' target share can be increased? Do you think he goes up, or do you think he still plays that spotty role just because that's the Ravens' MO?
I mean, Zay Flowers has shown he could do everything, right? He could be that drag route kind of Julian Edelman kind of guy, but also he could take the top off of defense and beat you deep also. I mean, Bateman has kind of established himself as like he's the deep threat, but Zay Flowers to me could just do it all. And he's had some good years, right? Let's look.
Zay Flowers, I know you and I talk about it. He had that one game last year in the first half. He had already gone off for like $130 and a touchdown.
It was almost 150, and he had like 8 or 9 catches. Then he got hurt, right?
And then he got hurt.
Yeah.
And his season kind of slowed down after that. It was like we were watching him peak, and then the injury happened, right?
Yeah. And his durability, like when we talk about Cooper Kupp's durability, it's different. He's 32. But I just think Zay Flowers this year, he had 74 catches, 1,059 yards, 4 touchdowns. And also, I think we have to.
That was all first and mid half. He did nothing at the
end. He's not really rushing the ball as much as I thought he would. But yeah, I could see him, going up to closer to 90 catches, right? And especially with no Likely for the first half of the year, right? Likely isn't out for the year, is he? It's like the first half of the year.
I think so. Yeah, he's on the mend. We were initially thinking that he was going to be out for the year, but no, he's coming back.
Out for the year, but then when I saw it was 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, he's coming back. He's coming back. But we've seen initial reports not turn out. You know what I mean? It happens.
Yeah. And that offense is just going to be so good. And Zay Flowers is going to have a lot of opportunities. And I could just see him.
All right, so let's talk about this. So Zay Flowers is in the same boat as this next guy I was about to talk about. Look at Jameson Williams.
Thanks for listening. I'm pretty sure I know who that is, but
Crooked Commish. What's up, buddy? Let's talk about Jameson Williams. Right. Jameson Williams is going in this bubble where he's having great reports in camp. Obviously, there's so many mouths to feed on that offense. He finally had the year that we were expecting him. He had 7 touchdowns, decent catches, and they're projecting more this year. He's taken a leadership role this year. Do you think Jameson Williams should be going higher up draft boards? Because you have this little bubble in Zay Flowers, Jameson Williams, and even George Pickens. These are guys that are going to be putting up like potential back in wide receiver 1 numbers that are going in the 4th and 5th round, 6th round. Yep. And still some of them even dropping, like Zay Flowers I've seen even drop a little further. I just don't understand. Is it because it's because of their offense, or is it because they just believe too much? Like George Pickens has CeeDee Lamb, so they don't think he's going to get as much work. Zay Flowers just happens to be on the Ravens, right? Like these are the kind of situations that they don't like.
Yeah, and it is kind of tricky, right? Because let's just say, let's go Jameson Williams, right?
Let's go Jameson Williams. He's such a sexy target.
Let's say you're out with the wife all day and you haven't watched football, and then you see the Lions won 42-14, right? There's a chance Jameson didn't get any piece of that, right?
100%.
And that's what's scary. Now, we all know he could, and, you don't always draft like that, but I love Jameson Williams, but he's going to have to kind of fall fall to me. Now, he's also one of those guys, if you're out having lunch with your wife and not watching football, which most likely won't be happening on Sundays, but he's also one of those guys, or let's say it's Monday Night Football and you're down 24. That Jameson Williams, if I'm let's say I'm going against him and I'm up 24,
worried.
I'm watching every play.
You're worried.
Because you just know one 80-yard bomb could be, that's 8 points for the yardage, the touchdown, the bonus catch for the long yardage, and he also 100-yard bonuses, right?
And then you're like looking at the stack bonus, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? It's just so, yeah, it's.
Are you happy with Jameson Williams as your wide receiver 2? You would want him more as your wide receiver 3 or 4,
right?
Do you feel the same way about Zay Flowers, or are you okay with Zay Flowers being wide receiver 2?
Yeah, I think Zay Flowers is more like he could be that possession receiver, right? Where I feel like Jameson Williams is only the deep threat, right?
Okay. I think that Jameson Williams has definitely proven he is the deep attack, and with Amon-Ra, right?
Yeah,
so that's why you would easily say that, because he's kind of the short to intermediate guy.
Yeah,
and then you got Laporta.
58 catches last year. You know what I mean? So Jameson Williams really isn't that guy. Like Kirk Kamish said, it's feast or famine. It's tricky.
So you would put Zay Flowers and Pickens over Jameson Williams, right?
Yes. Yep. I'd rather
they have Jameson Williams over Pickens right now.
Say it again.
They have Jameson Williams over Pickens right now, and maybe it depends on what board.
Does he have him over? Do they have him over Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers is over both of them.
Yeah. And that's because he's Lamar Jackson's number one target, right? Now, the problem is, there's Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, and they run that quirky kind of offense, right? Where it could be a Lamar Jackson run, Derrick Henry run, Lamar Jackson run, Mark Andrews over the middle, But Zay Flowers is Lamar Jackson's number one target, and Lamar Jackson is a top 2 quarterback in the NFL fantasy-wise.
It just makes number sense, right? Yeah. So let's talk about this guy. I know we're kind of near the end here. Our executive producer, certified Rob, he's a Steelers fan. You got DK Metcalf in that bubble. Nobody's taking DK other than Steelers fans. What do you think about DK's prospects? Is he a wide receiver 1? Is he more in the 2 to 3? Is he just a flex? Because he's going in that bubble with your Mike Evans, your Xavier Worthy. He's the Calvin Ridley bubble.
You don't want him as your number 2, I don't think. I'm just thinking, we got Kirk Kamish asking here, Keenan Allen or DeAndre Hopkins.
Keenan Allen to me.
Keenan Allen for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It's not even close.
That's reunited with Herbert. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it's reunited with Herbert. And they got Ladd McConkey. Now, Keenan Allen never had a Ladd McConkey being able to run all over the place,
Yeah, he had Mike Williams, which was a sluggish dude. Now he has a guy that can actually run routes and give Keenan.
And they got Omari and Hampton. I love the running prospects.
Herbert loves Keenan Allen. I mean, loves him. So, but yeah, back to Metcalf. I think that does Rodgers get him the ball? I think I'm not a believer in Geno Smith. So I think that Metcalf for the first time.
Who had better stats last year, Rodgers or Geno? Probably. That's comparable, right? I mean, you would think that they're at this stage in careers, they got to be pretty similar. And if Aaron Rodgers got Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams going, right?
Yeah, they're pretty similar. I just think that DK Metcalf has had Russell Wilson and Geno Smith. Let's get him Russell Wilson. I know is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he doesn't have that Hall of Fame quarterback capability. I think Rodgers makes Metcalf really good.
I think Metcalf is still that just specimen. He's always been the guy that I want for him to be the next Megatron.
Yeah.
I just have this aspirations when I look at him. He's just got every intangible to go out and catch 2,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 190 catches. The guy is unstoppable. Throw him the fucking ball.
I want to see him I always have this vision of Metcalf where it's going to be like a 30-yard jump ball. Metcalf's going to catch it over 2 guys, and then he's going to stand up and go like this, like
Right,
say
and
you're too
just,
little
like,
like that,
throw.
right? And
Mhm.
do something like that. But it'll be fun. And we're getting close, right? Let me go. I'm gonna
I just
go
think
look.
that he's one of those guys that keeps dropping down draft boards. Obviously, he's got the pedigree. Nobody likes the offense is what I think it comes down to, right?
Yeah, we
He's
have.
the only wide receiver targeted as a Steelers certified. Rob saying it's a monster year. That's why I try to bring him up. Is he being undervalued? Is he being disrespected? Is
I
Calvin
think.
Austin the third?
Yeah, I
And
think he's
it's
getting drafted. He's getting drafted about right. We are 649 hours and 43 minutes from Sunday kickoff. 649 hours. I'm excited.
I'm excited, man.
Anything else?
I mean, next week we'll go through running backs, tight ends. We'll go down the draft boards, talk about those guys, risers and fallers, talk about more preseason. I will say it's never make too much out of preseason. For those who are following us and you're doing fantasy, just understand there's definitely gamesmanship. They're going to show you some wrinkles. They're not going to let their cards be seen by the league. Like the Dolphins running 4 straight running plays. You don't want to hurt your guys. This is the one time a year. Like, what's kind of crazy? We went through 1 week and the worst injury was like Tajay Spears rolling his ankle.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. You got leagues starting to draft this week, next week. There's like 24th, bro, August 24th. I have 4 drafts. It's unbelievable. It's supposed to be something else going on that day. It's, very, very hush hush. But it's like I got drafts from like noon, 2, 3, and then somebody else is like trying to do another draft like that night. It's crazy, man. So the season is here. It is upon us. It feels good. Start doing your research, but don't fall for the okie doke. Is my only advice. That's all I wanted to say, man. You never want to buy into the preseason hype. There's too many guys that are going to move up your draft board that are going to break your heart later on.
Yeah. I'm looking as a preview for tight ends. Very deep this year with tight ends.
It's kind of crazy, right?
And I'll give this advice. It's a little nugget I like to say with tight ends. Don't draft a tight end from like your 3rd round to your 8th round. See what I'm trying to say?
Evan Ingram falls right in the 6th or 7th round, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like,
if I get 3 running backs and 3 receivers, and I'm looking at Evan Ingram as my 7th pick.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you this. You get Evan Ingram with your 7th round pick, right? I'll go get Zach Ertz or Kyle Pitts with my 12th round pick.
Let's just go ahead and put it on the record and let the world know that Tyson Thomas wants Kyle Pitts to be his tight end at the very end of the draft. I don't think he's going to go that far. There's too much noise with Kyle Pitts this year.
No, Pitts is going to get drafted.
But he's getting drafted. He just thinks that he's going to get drafted like with one of his last picks, and I think he's definitely going up the board.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is you get Evan Ingram with the 7th round, right? 6th or 7th round. I'm going to get Goddard, Ertz, or Pitts in the 12th round, right?
I like Hunter Henry.
Or Hunter Henry.
And I like Hunter Henry overall. Like, I like Hunter Henry and Kyle Pitts as like the 2 darling gym tight ends that are going to be down at the bottom. Ferguson got a contract. Ferguson's untouched.
So this is what I'm trying to say, right? You could go get
any of those guys.
Yeah, 7th round. I get Hunter Henry in the 13th round. And
now you're talking about getting a guy that's back in tight end production, maybe versus elite tight end production, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying either go get your top tight end, which I don't recommend doing, but if you want, but don't get an average tight end.
Do you think Evan Ingram is average? This year, he falls into an average tight end?
7th round. That's an average tight end, right?
Average.
I mean, yep. He's ranked on my board. I got him at 12. Joku, Kelsey, Laporta, Hawkinson. I got Warren ahead of him. Loveland, Kraft, Andrews. But
isn't that crazy that Warren's ahead of him?
Yeah, but
we haven't even seen anything out of Warren.
Warren's
and it's like, who's throwing him the ball?
But the point is that Evan Ingram is going to average 8.2 points per game, right?
I
Hunter
think so.
Henry's going to average 6.1.
Sure.
For those 2 points, I'd rather wait 7 rounds.
I would actually, and I'm only playing advocate or, contrarian here, but I think that Hunter Henry has a bigger year than Evan Ingram. And I think they're being draft, maybe even not backwards.
I love Evan Ingram this year. I just don't. I think there's too much value at running backs and wide receivers or quarterbacks, even at that level, where if you're not going to go get Kittle or Kelsey or some, who's your tight end that nobody's talking about this year that comes out of nowhere, becomes a fantasy player?
I'll let you go first.
Who's your tight end? Let me see.
While you look, I'll say
Hunter Henry has already been used. I'll say this: Waller, Tua loves to throw to the tight end, and the Dolphins gave away Jonnu Smith, right?
Right.
I think Waller. I'm starting to lose my voice, guys. That's why I'm trying to. But I think Waller will be a guy that you could get off waiver wires, and he will be a top target for Tua from like the fourth week on, something like that.
Depending on the league you're in, you might actually see, depending on how sharp it is, you might see a Kyle Pitts go undrafted, man. If it's a 10-man league, there's opportunities for certain players to definitely go undrafted. Somebody, though, to become a top 5 tight end in drafts next season. How about that kid Kraft from the Packers, right?
Yeah.
His name Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, I got him ahead of Evan Ingram.
Yeah, he's definitely got some potential, and Love loves him.
Yeah,
and you do have Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed running around there, and he seems to be one of those back end tight ends that could go there. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 drafted tight end next year, but Cade Otton, somebody that you can definitely look at this year, that's going completely undrafted. Nobody's talking about him. If you're in even a fat budget, you can get him for $1 at the end. But Baker loves him. Got weapons all around. There's no Godwin. That makes a case to get a little bit more. You still got other receivers with Ibuka and McMillan. I mean, there's a lot there, but you have a case for him to step in and be a back end tight end 1 or a tight end 2, just undrafted. So he's a starter,
If you need to roll with somebody on a week, give me a guy that's been with the same quarterback for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Baker has shown he loves throwing in the ball, right? A lot of mouths to feed there, but if you need to roll one in for a week or two, love Cade Otton.
Cade Otton. I think that's a good little finish. Yeah. TJ, I think you did a good job today, buddy.
Always a pleasure.
Always, man. Well, we appreciate you liking and subscribing. Put us out there, get us on. And, of course, make sure you hit us up and ask us any questions during the show. We love to be interactive, man. But for the Prop Stars, we'll see you next week. We'll break it down. Peace.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.